The superhero genre is vast, like vast. While it might not be as vast as your baby mama's new BBL, don't ask me how I know that. The genre, just like BBLs for that matter, it does come in a variety of different shapes and sizes. Though most people, they only tend to think about the MCU or the newly formed DCU when it comes to these types of movies, there have been countless examples over the years. Some superhero movies you get, they might be a bit more thrilling and dramatic. Others are a bit more low-key and comedic, and you've got everything in 2009, we were given a fresh interpretation of the genre in a way that hadn't really been seen before up to that point. I'm Guapo Jim, and today we're going to be breaking down Push and why this movie about telekinetic expats is a true hidden gem. For those of you who don't know or are too young to remember, Push is a 2009, I guess you could say, superhero thriller film about psychic super soldiers. It sounds like a lot, I know, but it all makes sense if you watch the movie. What made this movie cool is the fact that it was completely original, as in it wasn't based off of any type of comic book or novel or cartoon, anything like that. Not that it would be a problem if it was, but I always really mess with movies when they come with something just completely original. As the audience, we get to follow Nick Grant, who is a telekinetic that's been on the run both from his past as well as Reach from the Division. So in this world, in this universe, the Division is this secret government agency that basically rounds up people with powers, and it either turns them into weapons that they can use or it just kills them off altogether, So my guy Nick, he's been out here trying to avoid that, obviously. He's just out here grinding, finessing niggas, living day by day, just trying to keep his nose clean. And all of his shit, it gets flipped left when this girl named Cassie, she basically bursts into his life. Cassie, in this universe, she's got superpowers as well, but she is a clairvoyant, as in she can see the future. That's so Raven type shit, So my girl, she doesn't just see the future, but she actually sees this path where both Nick and Cassie, their lives depend on finding this mysterious woman who's carrying something that the Division is really trying to get after. As I said though, the Division, them niggas, they do not play. So they've got their own psychic assassins. They've got people who can literally kill with just a scream. They've got memory manipulators, as well as their own clairvoyants who can see the future and kind of fuck up Nick and Cassie whenever they need to. So it's like, with all of this shit stacked against them, the odds really are not looking good for my guys, Took the unorthodox approach by trying to strip away the glossy finish of the superhero genre and replace it with a level of uncertainty. Every power set in the movie has its own limits. Every vision of the future, it's usually incomplete. It's a world that's not necessarily designed for survival, but it's mainly about staying one step ahead of your opponent, where you're playing a game that's designed for you to lose. At its heart, Push is really about fighting for control when everything's been stolen from you. It's a paranoid superhero street level thriller that's really about psychic warfare that's simmering beneath every interaction. A story where destiny isn't written, but it's being rewritten with every step. Hey, what's Guan and Slime? If you're watching this right now, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to assume that you're a fan of movies with clairvoyant protagonists, that type of thing. If that's the case, next would be your shit. I actually made a breakdown about that film and I've left the link in the description down below. Do yourself and your boy a big favor and check it out. You will not be disappointed. I do also want to add, this is a pretty small channel. Man, them are trying to get monetized this year, trying to get that YouTube money. And if you do want to help support Guapo Jim Ministries, I'm going to need you to like, subscribe, and comment down below, share, all that YouTube algorithm shit. It not only means the world, but again, all support really is super appreciated. With that out of the way, let's get back to some Push, all right? From a production standpoint, this movie was a completely original idea, as I mentioned before. While it did take a lot of inspiration from the Stargate project, comment down below if you guys want to know about this Stargate project, because A, it's sick as fuck, and B, it's not what you think at all. But yeah, as I said, when we're talking about Push, completely original story. Superhero movies, especially back in the early 2000s, 2010s, that type of thing, they were massive business. And this studio was obviously trying to cash in on that trend. These guys, they even managed to snag Chris Evans and Jimon Hansu, hope I pronounced that correctly, before them niggas took much bigger roles in the MCU. On a relatively small budget of around 38 milli, this movie, it actually did quite well, and it ended up making like 65 mil during its box office run. That is factoring in DVD sales too. Side note, but like if somebody came to me from the future and they would have told me like 10 years ago that people would stop using and buying DVDs and Blu-rays and shit like that, I would have been like, yo, like, you're crazy. Like, why would I look at all my Blu-rays? Like, why would I give that up? But watch us now, you know? When it came to the critical reception of this movie, the critics, I'm not gonna lie, they didn't really hold anything back. Like, a lot of them, they said that this movie, they found it to be boring and very dull, all sizzle and no steak, if you will. Because of its lackluster reviews and mostly middle of the road earnings, I guess you can say, there has been no word on a sequel. These guys, they did make a comic book prequel about, you know, again, the lore of the movie, the lore of the universe, that type of thing. But at the end of the day, it's like, niggas, like, people didn't really check for your movie like that. I highly doubt that they're going to read a prequel comic book about said movie that they didn't really check for. If you do ever want to watch this movie today and see what I'm talking about, you can find it streaming on Prime Video as well as on Netflix. All in all, low-key, I love this movie, man. Like, one thing that I've always harped on for years, especially when it comes to the MCU stuff, is that they all feel so American. Like, yes, I get it, Marvel's American, they're gonna shoot a lot of their stuff there, but it's like, even when they shoot the movies in other places, they still feel American. Like, it all feels the same, you know? The fact that in this movie they chose to shoot it in Hong Kong, I really thought that was a cool touch, man. Like, it just added such a different flair to it. You know, you're gonna get different backgrounds and you're gonna get different lighting, and because of that, you're gonna have to shoot it differently. And I really like that. Like, I like that type of stuff. I enjoyed the action sequences. I thought that they were well done. They were fast paced, but they felt real. They felt weighty to them, you know? I'm a real nerd for lore and all the type of universe building, world building, all that type of shit. And I felt like this movie did a great job in that department as well. You had the division, you had all of the different types of power sets and all of the different characters. Like, I love that shit, you know? Did this feel bland and episodic at times? Of course it did. Yes, nigga. Like, yes, it definitely did. You know, Chris Evans was not gonna give us his full Steve Rogers treatment, if you will. But he didn't necessarily have to. At the end of the day, this movie, it wasn't gonna win any awards, but I thought that everybody held it down, personally, you know? Anyway, you guys know me. I'm always here and I'm always trying to put you onto some next shit. And I just wanted to let you guys know why Push isn't just some throwaway snoozer about mental assassins, but why it's actually a true hidden gem. Thank you if you've made it this far. If you're a fan of this type of content, I'll need you to like, subscribe, and comment down below on which other shows or movies you guys thought were true hidden gems. Until the next time we meet, stay safe. Later days.